You gave it honestly, completely, without asking much in return. Just a glance, a gesture, the echo of belonging. But the echo never came back. And now, in the silence that remains, a question lingers. Where does all that love go? The kind that was never welcomed, never reciprocated? Does it vanish into nothing? Or does it find a way to live inside you, hidden but still breathing? Sometimes the most haunting ghosts aren't people. They are feelings we never stopped carrying, affections we invested in someone who never saw us, smiles we rehearsed and gestures we repeated, hoping that one day they'd be noticed. But they never were. And yet, we remain full of something that has nowhere to land. Some loves were never meant to be stories with endings. They were silent offerings, fragments of soul gifted without the expectation of being received. And yet, when love is given without return, it does not disappear. It takes residence in the quiet corners of memory. It becomes a lingering presence inside you, not loud, not painful, but persistent. Like a name you no longer say, but that still echoes when you least expect. The world tells you to move on, to forget, to let go. But how do you let go of something that never truly left, that was never truly held? When affection is unreciprocated, it does not simply vanish. It transforms into poetry, into silence, into a kind of inner waiting. Sometimes it hides in your gestures, your pauses, your sudden sadness in the middle of a conversation. It lives in the way you avoid certain streets or songs. It remains encoded in the letters you never sent, in the words you never dared to say. And you wonder, was it real, if it was only mine? Love without return is not failure. It is a sacred imprint, a memory of who you were when you gave your heart with purity. And though it was not received, it shaped you, made you deeper, softer, more aware of the tenderness you carry. Not every bond ends with goodbye. Some end in silence, others in distance, and many never really end. They keep pulsing, invisibly, in the spaces between thoughts, in dreams that come uninvited, in the hesitation before opening your heart again. These unfinished ties, the ones that never got closure, are the ones that linger the longest. Because what is unresolved continues seeking form inside of us. It wants to be heard, understood, released. You may have built a new life, changed cities, changed names, but some emotional echoes still respond to a name you no longer call. There are moments you don't understand your own sadness, where it comes from, why you suddenly feel an emptiness that wasn't there a second ago. And the truth is, part of you still waits, still listens, still imagines what could have been if things had unfolded differently. Not out of obsession, but out of an unresolved tenderness that never had the chance to speak. Unfinished bonds create quiet griefs, invisible mourning, because there was no funeral, no end, just silence. And the hardest thing to heal is something that was never named. There is a strange weight in what's missing, a silence that sits beside you like an invisible guest. You learn to live around it, to make room for what isn't there. You set the table, not physically, but emotionally, expecting a message, a look, a recognition that no longer comes. And over time, that absence becomes a character in your story. It shapes your days, alters your reactions, and sometimes speaks louder than the people around you. The pain of unreciprocated love isn't always dramatic. Often it's subtle. A pause in a conversation, a lowered gaze, a hesitation to hope again. It's not the loud heartbreaks that destroy us. It's the quiet erosion of expectations never fulfilled. We start to give less, ask less, expect less. But deep down, the soul keeps count. Not for revenge, but for recognition. Because even when you pretend you don't care anymore, there's still a version of you that remembers how much you did. The hardest part is not knowing where to put that love. It's still there, intact, alive, but misplaced. And love without a place turns inward, not always as self-love, but sometimes as sadness, confusion, or chronic self-doubt. Because we were never taught what to do with love that has nowhere to go. There's a quiet kind of suffering reserved for those who give without being seen, not because they want recognition, but because they want connection. When you love deeply and receive silence in return, it's not the absence of words that hurts most. It's the absence of being felt, of existing in the emotional world of someone else. This is the invisible wound of the silent giver, the ones who showed up again and again even when the door was only half open, who forgave before hearing an apology, who offered presence in the midst of absence. They didn't keep score, but they noticed. Every unanswered message, every changed tone, every unspoken withdrawal. It's a form of grief that doesn't announce itself, because it doesn't feel justified to mourn someone who was never truly yours to begin with. And yet, the pain is real. It sits beneath your ribs like a quiet ache. Because when your love remains unreturned, the story doesn't end. It lingers, like unfinished music, like a candle that still burns, waiting for someone who no longer sees the light. But here lies a sacred turning point, the realization that your love is still valuable, even if it wasn't received as you hoped. That the purity of what you gave doesn't become lesser just because it wasn't acknowledged. And that perhaps the place it was always meant to return to was you. What do you do with the love that had no landing? The affection that found no echo? The tenderness that never had a name in return? You don't kill it. You don't bury it in bitterness. You transform it. You let it become part of your own healing. Not because the other deserved it, but because you do. You take back every fragment of affection that wandered outside of you, and you gather it with reverence. Because your capacity to love, even when it wasn't mirrored, is not a flaw. It's a sign that your heart still knows how to remain open in a world that teaches so many to shut down. Your unreturned love was not wasted. It became a proof of your depth, not their lack. And slowly, silently, you begin to make peace with the spaces where love once lived. You no longer wait for their reply. You no longer ache for closure. You become the closure. You don't beg for reciprocation. You become the one who receives your own tenderness. This is not forgetting. It is remembering with kindness. It's choosing not to carry an empty chair inside your chest. It's no longer building altars to those who never lit a single candle for you. It's understanding that some souls were never meant to stay, only to reflect something you forgot about yourself. Your ability to care deeply, to give without measure, to love with honesty. If this echoed something within you, if you've ever loved without return and still feel that trace inside you, write in the comments, "That love still lives in me." Send this video to someone who once gave more than they received. And if you're ready to reclaim your heart, not for someone else, but for you, subscribe now. The love that had no place to go finally found home in me.